Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum and we always whistle while we work. So you heard that Disneyland is opening April 1st and you're wondering if you can make it in. In today's video, I break down what the current restrictions are for when Disneyland opens. Like, subscribe, and stick around. Well, is Disneyland going to open on April 1st? Well, at the moment, that's just a possibility. However, it is very likely that they will have approval to open by that date. Doesn't necessarily mean that they will, but we hope so. All California theme parks should be clear by that time. Disney often waits for other theme parks to do something to test the waters before doing it itself, so they mightn't wait, but we are predicting and calling April 14th as the day that we think Disneyland is going to reopen. What's going on? California has a 4-tier system at the moment. There's 4 tiers. Purple, it's widespread, the worst. Red is substantial. Orange, moderate. And yellow, minimal. Orange County is still in the worst purple tier as of today. It is expected to dip below this into the red this next week. Now, a week ago, this really wouldn't have meant anything for Disneyland, but the rules have changed, they've been loosened, and once Orange County hits the red tier, which again is expected to happen this coming week, they can't open up immediately, but after the COVID rates have sat in the same place or gone lower for at least 3 weeks, once you have sat in the red tier for at least 3 weeks, then the theme parks can open. Another reason we think Disney might wait to open is that they currently have A Touch of Disney slated to run through April 14th. We don't think they're going to cancel that, and in a little bit we'll tell you why. Once Disneyland gets the go-ahead to open and they actually open the park, which is just awesome, we can't wait, they're going to have to operate at 15% capacity while in the red tier. They're going to get to expand that to 25% when they go down the next tier to orange, and then 35% with the last tier, yellow. But Disneyland itself is unofficially supposed to have a capacity of about 80,000 people. So if Disneyland opens, they can handle about 10 to 12,000 people at once. And then once DCA opens as well, that should add another 7 to 7,500 people. So when the parks open, demand is going to be intense and the capacity really small. Circling back to A Touch of Disney, and if that's a signal for what's to come, we should note that almost 4 weeks of tickets went in one day. The demand to get tickets is just going to be crazy. Imagine if annual passes are still around. They could probably fill the first 6 months that the parks are open without actually selling a ticket, so we know why those went away. But we think that this might be where we see the day partying and the weekend ticket options that Ken Potrock was talking about that are going to maybe allow more than one group to get into the parks on a single day. Particularly on the weekends, we think local demand to get into the park on the weekends is going to be very high, and those reservations will fill up first, so they might come up with some creative solutions for the weekends. Nonetheless, we think for some time it's just going to be very challenging to get those reservations. Not impossible, but challenging. And of course, that is required once you have a ticket. Another reason getting into Disneyland might be difficult at first is you are not a California resident. The California tier currently is going to restrict all visitors outside of California. And even within California, the recommendation that you do not travel beyond 120 miles from your home is still in effect. However, that does appear to just be a recommendation. I know that last one's a real bummer for all the out-of-state Disneyland fans, but once they get to the next tier down, the orange tier, then they will be able to accept visitors from outside of California. There is some new information about what we can expect to see once we're inside. It seems like it's going to have to be the same precautions that we saw at Walt Disney World when it first opened. Indoor rides are noted as having to have significant restrictions, but we don't see anything in the language saying that they can't open, just that they're going to have to operate at a lower capacity, probably put up plastic dividers and the like. So that's going to make the waits longer for those indoor attractions. But there isn't anything at all said about outdoor rides, so maybe they're able to operate more normally. All of the currently open Disney theme parks have been making a profit, but we do not think any of them have had to operate at a 15% capacity. So we do think Disneyland will be hard-pressed to make much of a profit in this situation, and it's possible that they will not open every attraction, every restaurant, everything as a way to keep those overhead costs down. And we also think some rides are going to be difficult to open at first, like the Subs, and maybe even the Haunted Mansion because of its stretching room and things like that. But for the most part, We think that the lucky SoCal residents that manage to get into the park in its first weeks or month that it's open, with the attractions open but with tiny crowds, it'd be amazing. It'll be like visiting during the off season in the 70s. I mean, it's just going to be really kind of a fun day for you folks. So we hope that clears up any confusion that you might have about the current state of reopening the Disneyland Resort, and it gives you an idea of when you might be able to come back to the parks. Hey, this is TC from the Disneyland Beat. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you real soon in Disneyland.